length. This is the third in a series of 5 entrepreneurial conversations where we talk to successful business owners in Manchester and learn their secrets. So we're excited to have you here. This is Daryl and Cassandra, who founded Thomas's Smokey Pit Soul Food. How does barbecue play into the soul food idea? Well, is it one and the same?
It is. There are very similarities. I mean, the barbecue piece comes from a tradition of cooking that I just inherited from my family. I had a great mentor, my father, and my father's brothers, and which inspired me to go ahead and develop my own craft of barbecue. And so I just incorporated some of the side dishes, in which were traditional in my family, to incorporate the soul food aspect of it with the barbecue blend.
Great. Feel free to talk to them out there.
Okay. I didn't know who.
I'm going to breathe over here.
Okay.
So, what did you want to do? What did both of you want to do when you were a kid? Like when people asked you, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Oh, I wanted to be a football player.
And you, Cassandra?
Honestly, I was going to be a nurse originally. When I started out, I wanted to be a nurse, but ended up being an educator and a small business owner.
Excellent. So, how did you get from wanting to be a football player to being a restaurateur?
Well, after my body started aching from some of the football injuries, I realized that that was a dead end. And then I was an educator for years, and I developed a little hobby of barbecuing while being an educator. I love to inspire kids, and so that was a passion of mine for the time. While I was in a school system in Springfield, I honed in this craft, and barbecue was my thing, and it became more of a passion. It grew more. I connected with my family more from a spiritual piece, in that this barbecue was the epicenter of keeping my family together. And so talking with my father, learning his recipes, talking with my uncles, learning their recipes, and they seeing that I inherited the spirit of barbecue, they kind of anointed me as the next generation barbecue pitman for the family. And so I was the person who would be responsible for gathering the family together for our holiday summer events, like barbecues in the summertime, 4th of July, whatever have you. And it was just a place for us to come together and kind of relive yesterday's memories, but in a newer generation.
Very nice. And did your family have a relationship with food in that way?
I mean, absolutely. I think some of the recipes, like my grandmother's, there's some inspiration from my grandmother, my Nana Bert. And so soul food was a big part of my upbringing. So I think we tied in that piece of the soul food from his family and some of my family recipes in order to create that soul food plus the love of barbecue. And he didn't mention, I think when he was starting out, part of his big way in which he got started was through bringing football and barbecue together, because he does a lot of work with the University of Massachusetts, which he's a football alum from UMass. So he started with the football tailgates at UMass, which really brought that spirit of people being like, oh, wow, you need to kind of bring this on the road. And he started with just bringing a smoker and cooking, and people would pay him, and he didn't ask for it. They were just like, here, take this. And so that really pivoted him into thinking wow, this is something I could turn into a business.
And so say a little bit more about the word spirit has come up a lot, because I can slap barbecue sauce on a piece of chicken and burn it on a grill. Mm-hmm. But what's the difference between someone who really has this different relationship with food and understands how it should be cooked and prepared and presented?
I think, the whole spirit piece and the tradition, it comes from what I've observed as a young kid growing up, having my grandmother, her grandmother, my mother, my aunts, all own the kitchen. And their space was just all right, we're going to produce this food, and we're going to not measure anything. We're going to put a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and a shake of that. And it produced food that just brought us all together, and you said, wow, this is good. And so I just took on that desire to go ahead and capture those shakes of this, a dash of that, and incorporate it into one product that I service through the community. So, you know, if you ever look at my menu, I have mom's mac and cheese. I have my grandma Nanny's collard greens.
Sisters candy yams.
Sister's candied yams. And so I had to go ahead and collect all of those shakes, measure them out, implode them, and produce them in a restaurant for a larger capacity.
How did you go from tailgating to having a business?
One thing led, you know, just the desire to want to produce food. It was like a calling. So, you know, I started out with tailgating, and then it grew to other groups. My fraternity and other groups took, you know, interest in the product that I was producing. Barbecue and having a trailer, that demands its attention in its own. So if someone wanted an outside barbecue or an event, they would ask me to come with a bigger grill because they know that I can produce food that can yield to their guests. And so having invested in a bigger smoker just enabled me to go ahead and exercise that desire. And as that grew, I said, wow, let me purchase a food truck and see if I can go ahead and service this food to a larger group in the community. And so we had purchased a concession trailer, and my introduction to Manchester happened to be at the grand opening of Labyrinth Brewing Company here. And I had been going servicing other areas and having a base, well, prior to moving to Manchester in 2009, I had solely been out of Massachusetts. And so having resources in Massachusetts, I used those resources, but I lived here. And I was trying to find an opportunity of serving my home community so I don't have to travel far to go ahead and, you know, exercise this desire. And when Labyrinth opened up their brewing company, I reached out to them, and they were like, wow, yes, bring your concessions trailer. And so I was there, and then it just took a life of its own. The community around the Labyrinth Brewing Company started going and frequenting our food trucks when we were there. And I said, wow, we can do this here, and we don't have to travel. And one thing led to the next, and the opportunity to purchase a place here on Middle Turnpike West came up, and I opened it up, figuring that it was going to be our base of operation just as a commissary kitchen. And using that, you know, in 2019, I said, okay, well, you know, the wintertime is coming, and I don't feel like being in this concession trailer in the winter. So what do you think about us opening up to the public and just kind of replicating our food truck, so to speak, and having a takeout restaurant? And so we started building out in 2019. 2020 came, and we were like, all right, March 18th, this is gonna be our grand opening day, March 18th. So we had a soft opening March 7th, and I remember, you know, people were saying, oh, well, let's not shake hands, let's get a pound. Like, you know, this COVID-19 thing. And nobody ever looked at it as such, but it just took a lot. And I don't know if I'm prematurely talking before your next question, but
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and do that sometime.
So before we get into how valuable it was to have a takeout restaurant during COVID, what business steps did you have to do? Legally, taxes, like, is this stuff that came naturally to you? Was there somebody that you went to for advice?
Well, you know, yes, Shelley, the Connecticut Small Business Center, she helped give me some guidance and resources. I was open to listening to anyone that was willing to share anything. And when we opened up our the commissary kitchen on Middle Turnpike before it was a restaurant, I had went out and solicited some feedback from the Board of Health, Fire Department, and zoning, because, you know, I was just wanted to know that the building had good bones, and, you know, it was going to be a good investment. So after developing a relationship with them, and obviously with the food truck, having a relationship with the health department was important. I realized that I have to keep those guys close to me. And so they were able to provide other resources to help me be safe and make more methodical decisions.
And I think also like we're working with an attorney for the building. We were purchasing the building, and she also had some connections of people that she could guide us, to speak with, from accountants to
Right.
people who had been in the industry, just giving additional information. Because when you're starting out and you have not done this, it definitely can be very scary because there's a lot of information we don't know. I mean, both of us being educators, it was like, okay, this is a whole new world, especially when you come down to like the Board of Health and, running a business from the financial aspect, all of the details. It was a lot, but I think just relying on the resources of others is what really helped us to get to where we are today.
Yeah, that idea of collaboration is big in the conversations that we have, and a lot of people who have this entrepreneurial spirit, just like, I'm going to leap and see what happens. But, you buy a building without knowing about its history and certain updates that you need. It could be could break you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, failure was never an option, and I always took on that slogan there as a way of saying, I'm not going to fail. But in order to prevent yourself from failing, you have to prepare yourself. And so I ask a lot of questions. I do a lot of research before I go ahead and make any decisions that are going to be permanent and potentially detrimental.
Right. And another piece I think is will never bite off more than he can chew. So I think when we started to open, it was like thinking about like, well, how much can we handle? I mean, we also have children at the time, with smaller children. So that a big part for us as family is important. So you have to, sometimes people jump into a business and they're like, well, I'm going to go all in and be 7 days a week and do all of this stuff. But for us, we had to go in with the mindset of like, we have to make sure that this is sustainable and do it in a way in which it's going to be, long lasting and grow. So.
And at what point do you give up your day jobs?
So he went all in, and so that was like a decision that we made from the start, was to say, okay, he's going to go all in. When he said, oh, I think I want to do this, I was like, okay, well, it's scary to say you're going to quit your job and, go with your passion. But when I saw how much of a passion he had for it, I knew that it was a direction that we needed to go in, because he did all the research, he knew what he needed to do. And so he went all in 100%. For me, I don't know. I think we are moving in that direction of being able to eventually have both of us be 100% within in the business. But there's also other details that you have to figure out, like health insurance and retirement benefits and all those things. So for me, it's important to kind of stay within my role at this point, and for him, and support as much as I possibly can with the business, because I think we both have our strengths, and so as a team we do really well together.
And what kind of research or information did you know about the history of barbecue and soul food in Manchester?
Well, I knew there was prior to us opening up, there was a barbecue restaurant on Main Street that had closed down. I don't know the reason why it closed down, but that had no impact on my desires. I was confident in the product that I was able to produce. I was confident in the feedback that I was able to receive from the samplings throughout Manchester with my food truck and in other areas, that it developed, like I said, a confidence of saying, all right, well, the people are telling me that this is a good product. They're enjoying this product. And when you hear that throughout the many different areas in where you've been servicing food, it develops that, sense of, I can do this.
And can I ask you about your demographics? Is there any an obvious favoring of your food among certain cultures or ethnicities?
I think it's the most beautiful thing going, because when from where I'm from, when you think of soul food, you think of Black people, but that is not the lane we wanted to move in. We wanted to present this food to a diverse population, and Manchester is the place that can produce that. And so when we opened our doors, to see the many different cultures that came in to sample our food, to frequent our food on a weekly, monthly basis, I cannot say there's one dominant culture that shops with us, dines with us.
So tell us about your soft opening. Where did you promote it? How many people came?
Well, we promoted on Facebook, Instagram, email, and a lot of the family and friends, they traveled from other states. There were friends and resources that we tapped into throughout our years of just living. And they came up just to give us some support, some honest feedback for some, but just being a part of the opening of something new that we were embarking on.
You can hold the microphone if you want. I see
I just didn't realize we
creeping
didn't
down. And then what was the transition to COVID? How long was it until you were back up doing takeout? How many days? What were your supply chain issues?
Well, when
Yeah, so, I mean, we opened on March 18th, 2020, literally as the state was shutting down. And like you said, failure is not an option. So like we quickly had to pivot into, okay, we need an online ordering system. We got to have curbside pickup. So really we didn't lose any time as far as being able to stay open, because the beauty of it is that we were fully a takeout restaurant. So I think, for us, it was a quick shift into continuing what we were starting. So we were able to jump right into that online ordering, bringing orders out to customers. It just was a little scary because we're like, oh, what are we going to do? But we knew that we were opening, and we had to open because we invested so much into opening. And we also had to keep our staffing small. So we really had to keep it to like family basically, or like really, really close friends, because of the fact that like COVID was happening. But we were able to manage that, and we were able to continue to keep the business going. And it got really busy at times. I mean, considering that it was COVID, we were like, whoa, like all these people are out. But I think people were like, I just want to get out of the house. So it was a little crazy because we were learning everything, but also managing COVID at the same time.
And do you have a food truck now?
We have the trailer. So we started with a very small concessions trailer, which really has it's crazy because we really grew out of that little small food trailer that we have. But
yes, we just a week and a half ago we purchased a new food truck, which is going to be built out and then decorated so that we can go ahead and start servicing different communities.
Much larger events. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're looking to do more, probably like fairs, festivals, larger events. It's a pretty big food truck, but we felt that when we're thinking about our next move and next step, that the best direction to go in, because it's the least amount of overhead, was to invest in another larger food truck that would have the ability to go wherever we want it to go.
And do you do a lot of catering?
Yes.
Yes. Catering is one of the reasons that we even opened up, is because we were servicing people in larger capacities, and 50 people, 100 people, and sometimes even greater numbers than that. That's what we really enjoyed. Now, the restaurant allows people to come in and get something for their families, and so we're covering the catering and then the takeout. And so it feels good to be able to fuse them both together at times and allow the takeout be the tasting arena for someone who's going to have a larger event later on, weddings or whatever other parties are going on.
And we do a huge amount of catering with the University of Massachusetts. We actually are in the Mullen Center, so it's kind of like full circle with both UMass alumni. So for us to be on campus in the Mullen Center, which is crazy because they've never had an outside food vendor, we're there. And so I think that's a big piece for us too. Really proud moment was to have the ability to cater on that large scale.
It also helps get us through the winter time.
Yes.
When business is low. The winter sports, hockey, basketball, it enables us to get our food out there and still keep our workers busy.
Do we have any questions that anybody wants to ask? How many people have had their food?
No.
Gary.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your story, for sure. Could you share What are some lessons that you think would be helpful for somebody else that's looking to open a business, either in Manchester or in the surrounding area, particularly in Manchester? Any advice for folks that are thinking about it or starting?
Do your research. Identify your location, but yet after you find your location, I think the most useful thing that I had done is establish relationships with the health department, the board of health, the fire department, and the buildings department. They're there to help, and sometimes folks, and I've talked with others that are in the restaurant industry where they try to go around them or not being transparent with them. To me, that's helped me out a great deal. And when they come into the restaurant, they know that everything is what it should be. And it just gives me a sense of being open and, like I said, transparent. And it gives you that sense of integrity. Like, all right, my business is legit. It's not hidden in the dark, no aspect of it. So I enjoy being able to present that. And when customers come in, they can feel that energy.
I would also say the knowledge of the market. I mean, you have to know, the town you're in and the demographics and the people and what the people want. And so just really knowing the market and knowing what, even the area of location, like for us, Middle Turnpike West worked out well because we knew the amount of cars that pass through on a daily basis. So you have to really, again, it goes down, along the lines of the research piece, but just really know who you're marketing to, so that you can continue to grow the business.
And how did you go about doing that research or figuring that out?
Well, Shelly at the Small Business Development,
Yes.
Shelly Kohler, she gave me some directions. She had encouraged me to go down to the town and find that information out. I had no idea that information was present. And then I found out that 17,000 cars had traveled up and down Middle Turnpike West today. I said, whoa. Okay, 17,000. I don't need all 17,000, but I'll take a small portion of that, 0.5%.
And how's parking where you guys are?
Parking, it has its challenges. We're in the process of developing funding so that we can go ahead and get actual parking spaces again. Our parking spaces have since eroded away and you can barely see the lines. So as we develop more, we're gonna, put more distinct parking there. But
the parking's not great, but because it's a takeout and our goal is to get people in and out quickly, it does work. Originally I was like, oh, this is kind of small, there's not a lot of spaces, but you don't have, and most people are either ordering online or they're calling in, so they're quickly in and out grabbing their orders, along with Grubhub and DoorDash, so it actually works out for us.
Yeah, it's a pit stop.
Yes.
Which is why we named it Thomas and Smokey Pit Stop.
If the food's good enough, people will find you, right?
Yes.
They'll figure out a way to get there.
Yes.
Do you change your menu?
We have not changed our menu. Occasionally we do add specials. And so we have a base menu and then we will have a special where we have some shrimp and grits or some beef ribs. And there are some other side dishes that we'll occasionally put on.
Baby back ribs.
Yes, baby back ribs, your Nana's rice. Like I said, our whole menu has been inspired by family members. And so we have a lot of different food options that we do not have on our regular menu. One, we don't have the space to hold it all, but we don't want to create something that is very difficult and overwhelming for us to continue to reproduce either.
Your staff, are any of them budding entrepreneurs?
I don't know, but they are, we love our staff. Our business would not be the business that it is without our staff. They've come in, embraced our culture and the spirit in which we're looking to, which we created this business, and they own it. When I hear them talking to customers, I hear the essence of what Thomas Smokey Pit Stop is about. They carry that with them. They live it, and we love them for it.
I mean, our staff is family, right?
Yes.
So it's literally an extension of our family, and a lot of our staff, actually all of our staff, more or less, with the exception of we just had a new hire, who's also amazing. they've been there with us for years. So, I mean, I think that speaks volumes to how we run our business is, you know, when you come in, you're coming in as an extension of our family. You are now part of the Thomas Smokey Pit Stop family, so, or Thomas family, so.
Yep. We have very low turnover.
Yes.
And what are your ties to Manchester now that you've lived here for a while and have a business? Are you involved in community activities, the chamber?
Yes. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of the Economic Development Commission. And I'm also a coach for the local Pop Warner football program, the Red Hawks.
Yeah. We're involved, I think, quite a bit. I mean, just because we have 2 children in town, so we're very involved in the athletics and the
Yes.
sports and that community.
Excellent. Any other questions? Oh, we got 2 here. Millie first.
So with your food truck, congratulations and congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
Are you gonna carry kind of the same menu? Are you gonna add anything else with the food truck?
Well, the food truck, it's going to be a speed menu. We're not going to carry ribs, chicken. We're going to have sandwiches, potatoes, macaroni and cheese. That's our #1 selling side dish, and so we'll definitely have that on the food truck. But it's going to be a menu which we can, you know, like I said, a speed menu. Go to festivals, fairs, and they can come in line, have a sampling of, well, not a sampling, they can eat our food and try our brisket, our pulled pork, our pulled chicken sandwiches, and potatoes as well.
We know, like, when you're doing, you know, fairs, festivals, any type of events, is time is money, right? So, like, we're all about, like, making sure that it's coming out quickly. We've been at a lot of events where people are standing in line at a food truck and they're waiting forever. That's not us. Like, we're about getting your order in and out so that you can go on about
With quality
your
as
time.
well.
With quality, absolutely.
Are you gonna be doing any like private events like weddings at all or any private events?
Well,
or not more?
we currently, with the food truck or with just in general?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. We're booked for, you know, several events leading up into the summertime, weddings, and private parties. And so we still have some availabilities. Anybody watching this YouTube channel?
Yeah, a lot of barbecues. I mean, a lot of times in the summer, graduation. We've had a lot of people reaching out about graduations recently. I mean, every year we do, but I think a lot of big events, whether it's, you know, an engagement party or we've done like backyard weddings where we will trail, you know, sometimes we'll trail the smoker and do on-site catering is a big piece for us.
Yes.
And so we do everything, so you don't have to worry about anything. We just like set up shop and you just enjoy your party and we bring the party.
Thank you.
Mike?
Got a question for you about barbecue. I did a decade with a corporate barbecue place, and barbecue's very regional and very protective of what they consider barbecue. If you go to Texas, hey, it's sweet sauce. If you go to Tennessee, it's mild sauce. If you go to Kansas City, it's dry rub. If you go to North Carolina, you know how I feel about the vinegar. But here, it's kind of a honey barbecue. And do you get any people like commenting on it? Maybe they're a transplant from Texas or one of those other ones I mentioned, then they go, "This isn't barbecue."
Well, I've never had anyone say this is a barbecue. we do have outdoor smokers in which, you know, it certifies that it's barbecue. But I like to say, you know, being in New England, living in New England, I don't like to bring so much, you know, emphasis from other states because I'm proud of where I'm serving and where I'm, you know, having food in my business. And so I try to infuse the flavors of New England. And the maple tree is very frequent up here. You can see maple everywhere, but the maple brown sugars, a lot of New Englanders, they like the sweet. And so we infuse the maple brown sugar into our sauces, and it produces well for our customers.
Thank you.
That's the most important question because now I'm hungry. What time do you open?
Well,
We're not open today, but we do open at 11 o'clock tomorrow.
So you
Wednesday
open
through
Wednesday
Wednesday
through
through
Sunday?
Saturday.
Wednesday to
Saturday.
Saturday,
Yeah.
11 to 7.
And that's the balance that you have for
Yes.
family time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We need one weekend day for our kids, and Sunday is the day for our kids. Even though it's been tempting to go ahead and open that 5th day, but you know, we have to do it the right way. And right now, I'm not willing to compromise, not being a coach on Sundays for my son. Those times, you only get this much time in your life to enjoy it. And no matter how much money I make on that day, it wouldn't be worth it.
And leftover barbecue is good anyway, so we can get it on.
Yes.
Eat it on Sunday. Any other questions? Well, this was a delight. Thank you so much for telling us your story. We
Thanks for
appreciate
having
when
us.
Workspace opened as Workspace. You were one of our first beer and business
Absolutely.
restaurants that came to share your food with us. And we appreciate you coming back for the business link and anything we can do to support you and your business. And thank you for all you do for our community. So
Thanks for having
congratulations.
us. All right. Thank you.
We'll be back the first Tuesday, which I believe is May 7th, and Shady Glen. The owners of Shady Glen will be our guests, and I'll let you guys know when we get the guest after that, and that will conclude our 5-month Business Link series. And we might pick it up again, so thank you all for being here. Coffee from Silk City Coffee and cornbread from Thomas's Smokey Pit Stop available to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.